It is what time for you?
6:15.
15 and
6:15
3:15
here on the
for
East Coast,
me.
and I'm here today with one of my dear friends, Malena Lloyd, sometimes known as Malena Lloyd.
I hate that you did that because then I changed all my social media to that and still I'll get emails to this day that are like, hello, Alina Malloy.
Yeah, I bet. It's one of those things where you're like, oh yeah, if I needed to, I could change all my passwords. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be. And then it's like, no.
That was a good idea in theory.
In theory, it was fun.
In theory, but then you mess everything up and never listen to you
He
ever.
also had That's So Lily.
That is still my username.
Oh, well, if you're interested in following Malena Lloyd,
On
Malena
Instagram.
Lloyd.
Malina Malloyd.
Oh my God. Malena Lloyd on Instagram. There she is. So Malena is in LA and she's a longtime collaborator of mine. We went to school together. SUNY Oswego. We both studied. You studied creative writing, and what
Yeah.
was your other major?
I mean, I was working up to a minor in health science, and I think
All
I
right.
was like one class short, but I tell everybody that I have a minor in health science.
Well, that's pretty good. Was that like 5 classes?
That's close.
You almost have a minor in something.
To be
Excellent.
fair, I did get my nutrition certification like a year or two ago, so it
Okay.
counts. We were doing it.
Did it like line up with what you were taught? Or has the world
Yeah.
changed in the past
No,
10
yeah.
years?
It lined up actually.
Okay, well that's good. So it wasn't a waste.
Yeah, so now I'm technically not lying.
Good. Yeah, this is a podcast where we technically don't lie most of the time.
Just little white lies, yeah. And if
This is
somebody,
Aurora Airwaves. As long as you're inspired by it, it's somewhat truthful.
you could be inspired to lie.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a good story behind it, keeps you going. So yeah, this has been like, I guess this has been on my list. There's like, my initial list of people that I wanted to have a chat about creativity and well-being and healing and, just all those sorts of things. And in my life, I've been having these conversations for a long time just because it's what I'm interested in. And I'm lucky that I have people like Melina, you, who are, not only down to have these conversations, but you're also having these conversations, and you've been having them for like years longer than I have. I remember like when you moved out to LA, I don't know how old you were, 24, 25, something like
20,
that.
20, yeah, I
20,
think 20, yeah, I think
2016,
you're right.
2017, something like that.
2016,
2016.
September 2016.
That's when I can remember that language and like the verbiage of taking care of yourself and everything started to weave its way into just the things you were posting and the way you talked about things. And at that point, I was not at all interested in any of those type of things at all. Didn't need to. But I just, I think it's just, I think it's interesting how our creative partnership has grown from writing short films and writing ghost stories to spending most of our time talking about how we're healing as individuals and how we're basically growing up, growing into our 30s, and how that has, like, the more you talk about those type of topics and you move this energy out of your system, it just makes everything so much easier to be creative. I mean, we've recently started working on our feature, a ghost hunting feature, and we've moved so fast, and granted, we know more and our brains are developed now.
Yeah.
Um,
It's also drastically different from where it was when we were writing it the first time. Even, I mean, we haven't written anything down on paper yet, but like when we talk, we're mainly like talking about the characters' personalities and just how we're having those conversations have changed. They're completely different characters.
they're completely different. And I think that when we started writing that script, it was just so much about the spectacle. It was,
Which was
I mean,
pretty
for
cool
those who
though.
don't know, it was cool. But it went from a thing of like, how do we impress the world? How do we have like the smartest, way of posting? Because originally it was like a web series and it was going to be interlaced with social media and all the characters were going to be real and we were going to trick the world into believing that this was a ghost hunting adventure that, went wrong, was really happening. And I love that. But I think that we missed something in terms of like really fleshing these people out. And I don't think we had the capacity to even like write in that way at that time.
Yeah, I think it has, I remember in one of Juliet's classes when she was like, I can't remember if she was advocating for writing for what you know or not following that rule, but I always
Yeah.
like to write what I know, and I think that that's where I got I didn't know that much, you know?
Yeah. I think we did a lot of that. We wrote things that we didn't know anything about,
Mhm.
and that was exciting.
Well, I do
Like week
think week
6
six.
was like that.
Yeah. Well, like week six, like the general plot, like I don't know anything about, you know, having a family member pass in that way and going through those struggles and everything, but I am familiar with the emotions that they felt, like
Right.
that deep grief. But yeah, in that context, no.
Well, but I think that that's interesting because like that film in a lot of ways worked. This was my thesis film that Malena wrote, and it's like a 15, 16 minute sad drama.
Very sad. And I think
Very
that
sad.
that's like when we started to actually be friends, right?
Yeah, we sort of knew each other in college. We were sort of in the same spheres, but it wasn't until week 6.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a cool project because it was, I guess just for those listening that have no idea what we're talking about, um, yeah, just like it was just supposed to be a very serious drama that was shot in college, but it didn't have any college actors or anything. And so I remember I had a few things that I wanted in the script, and I had shot some things up to that point that I felt comfortable or more comfortable shooting a drama. But I just was like, I can't think of where to go with the script. Why don't I actually just like get a screenwriter on board that actually knows how to like bring up ideas and pitch them, and that's what they want their focus to be. So that was when I called you, and I was like, yo, like I remember I read one or two of your scripts before that, and I was like, okay, cool, like she wants to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Weren't we in a, were we in Jamie's class? You'd never had Jamie.
We were in Julio's intermediate.
I had her for advanced. I didn't have her for intermediate.
You must have.
I had Jamie for, I think, beginner and intermediate.
Was it advanced then? I don't think you were in my advanced. I think you were in my class.
Were we in class together?
I don't remember.
Where did you come from?
No, I think you were in my intermediate. Because I don't know
Okay.
where else I would have met you. There was a Living Writers series too.
I'll have to look back at my pictures from that year because I'm organizing all my pictures and I started at college. So I'll see what
Oh,
pictures you're
cool.
in. We'll figure that out.
Cool. Where does he start to appear? Where does he start photobombing?
Just showing up, doing your
But
little in the
wait,
background.
but you were saying, what were you saying about like? Because I just pitched you a couple things that I needed, and I was like, let's see what she can do.
Yeah, you were like, I want to do a drama. I want it to be, I don't know if you said you wanted it to be coming of age. I don't remember if you said you wanted it to be focused around a family or anything. I don't know why you would have said that because that would have been
I don't
difficult to,
think so.
which it was. There you go, and I apologize.
I think it would have been like freaking out if I had known what you were gonna give me, like before you gave it to me. Like I wouldn't have ordered
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
it was like incredibly hard to cast.
Yeah. But I do remember you wanted a coming of age story
Hmm.
about somebody going through something difficult.
I
And
think
I
I
was
just watched a film about like a boy who was like growing up in the foster system in Europe or something. The kid with the
like,
bike.
yeah.
And I think I was like, this would be a really cool angle.
Yeah. That sounds like you.
But then you just sort of like gave me all these ideas, and it was pretty cool because it was like I was able to help direct the process, but you were able to do your own thing, which I think in college is something that, most directors just write their own thing.
Hmm.
And screenwriters just have to end up write their own features and stuff and maybe help a team out. But for the most part, they don't get to really produce films in that way just because of the dynamics and the ego. So I think it was interesting that we were able to team up in that way.
Well, I think it was really cool too, because like I mean, since then we've been like writing partners like on and off, but like I was so surprised at how well we immediately like worked well together because
Yeah.
especially because we didn't really know each other like we do now. But
Well, you had graduated at that point, which is the other thing.
had I graduated?
Yeah, so we met before we met about the project right after As Ever showed, whatever. That was before shows dropped. And then we met about it, and I think we were just like FaceTiming here and there. We had check-ins that fall semester,
Why
and
do
then
I
it
have
shot in
this?
the spring.
I have this memory of being on campus in the fall and meeting with you.
You definitely did at one point.
Okay. Wow, it is all a blur.
One of the coffee shops or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's a cool place to start. If anybody like wants to watch it, like an older cut of week 6 is on my website. A new one's coming out one day. But yeah, I guess it was just really interesting because it's just a slow, sad movie about a boy who's lost his mother. He's like 8, 9 years old, and 6 weeks after her death, his rapport with his dad is pretty shattered, and the dad's depressed, and he's a blocked musician, and their rapport is just in a very bad place. And so when the kid starts having problems in school and with his tutor and stuff, it just creates conflict in the house. So looking back, it's absolutely incredible that we were tackling that type of material.
And the
But I
dad.
think to bring this full circle, it's like, it is interesting. Like, I feel like 10 years later, or almost 10 years later, it's like, I don't feel bad about like what I was able to supply in those stories at that age, but I feel like now it's a lot more of what you said. Like, you understand the emotions and what these things feel like, and then you can apply them to a different context, but you do it in your own way. And I feel like this whole journey of healing and getting to know yourself, and then talking about that openly with people that are in your inner circle, like, it helps you articulate what feelings actually mean and how you actually relate to a situation versus how you might have perceived you did, or how you might have been pushed into situations where you can't actually feel like, you know, how something might feel if it wasn't being suppressed in a certain way. So I look back at those films and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of great stuff here, but I think a lot of it was like guesswork
Yeah, I think
and
so.
not like articulating certain things in certain ways.
It'd be interesting to rewrite and reshoot week 6 and see what
Yeah.
happens. I mean, that's not suggesting we should do that at all,
Mm.
but
Everyone was actually dead the whole time.
it'll just be the
Oh
ending.
my
We'll just
God.
write everything and that'll be the
There never
ending.
was a tutor. There never was a library.
Yes, I like that version.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then we got into Manifest, the ghost hunting show, which became a film, which then I
Yeah.
think teetered back and forth between, like, we didn't know what medium it was going to be. We still don't.
I still have no idea, but I like where we're going. It is more
Mm-hmm.
thr coming of age paranormal thriller, paranormal drama.
Yeah, paranormal drama.
Yeah, because it's not spooky or terribly scary or anything, but it is
Yeah.
thrilling. But I can see, even though like it hasn't been like written or anything, I can see it in my head and I can feel what it feels like, you know?
Which feels completely different from how it did. Like, we didn't spend like a weekend writing this.
No,
We didn't
years.
spend like 6 months writing it either. We probably spent 2.5 years.
Yeah. When
Pretty
we
consistently.
were, I was in upstate New York while you were in New York City, and then I was in New York City while you were in upstate New York. Like we were just never in the same place at the same time. So all of it was mainly done through like FaceTime.
I can't believe we did that. Well, no, I mean, I can,
Still
but
doing it. And I'm across the country.
yeah, we're still doing it. I feel like we get to like hang out once a year if we don't have COVID.
I know we
We
put
both
that.
just came down with COVID for Christmas. But well, tell us about I guess I'm curious about the way that you perceive characters now. Going off of what you were saying about like understanding emotions in a different way and having like a clear awareness of what you can bring to a script and stuff like that. How are things changing for you? Like, are you able to separate yourself from the characters a little bit more? Or are you able to see where they're just not as rich as they used to be? Or
Yeah,
they're more rich? I don't know. Like,
I mean, like, if I'll use Manifest as the example, but like when we're talking about our main female character, Nat, she, I was never connected with her. I think you said you weren't really either. Like, she was just kind of there. She was reacting, not really acting. She's pretty passive. And now when I like envision her, she's, and just the things that we've compared with the things we've talked about that could be possibilities of her past trauma and things she's gone through and everything, I think she's deep and she can still be as silent maybe as she was in our previous versions, but now there's a reason for it. And I think that that makes all the difference because I've gone through the same thing. And I think I've compared myself to Nat already in these recent conversations too. And why I feel the way that I do. When we were like, oh, let's make her queer. Like, let's do something. Let's make her bi
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
And so I that's where getting in touch with things that are more authentic to me and my feelings. I mean, that's helped her already, even just in our conversations. So
There were moments where it was like we're changing things that we had stuck with for so many years, and it's just like, oh, yeah, yeah. But I think like, there's a part of it that like the reason why it clicks is because it's like in this environment, like I'm looking at you when I'm pitching ideas, or I'm hearing you when you're telling me things, and so it's like, I guess when something is like true to the individual and it fits for the character that's being told, it's like, oh yeah, well why wouldn't we have done this already? And this makes perfect sense.
yeah, I can't believe that I mean, we're still tossing around a lot of similar examples as we were years ago when we're talking about different works of film and TV
Yeah.
for our inspiration. Like the OA was a big one and still
Yeah.
is. Um, and it's it's just so funny how those are still examples and we're adding on top of them, but we can see everything so much clearer now.
I feel like I'm not caught up in the world building at all anymore.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah,
spent
that was
so
it.
much time doing that, and like we had to. I
It
mean,
was
any
complicated.
fantasy drama needs that. Yeah.
I mean, we had to figure out how those old Edison light bulbs work.
We went light bulb shopping.
Light bulbs. No, I think that was just because like I really thought they were really cool and I was just having fun doing that.
No, it was great though, because it was great like holding it, and I think that's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I learned a lot from that of like you got to get out of the room, you got to
Yeah.
go to places, you got to just even if you think it's goofy,
Hmm.
it needs to become physical in some way.
And it got to the point though where you and I would send each other pictures of those types of light bulbs that we would see,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, I mean, that was pretty cool.
I think it's cool though that like it's like we know we can fill in the blanks when it comes to the world building now though.
Hmm.
And if anything, I think it's like taking a lot of the world building out.
Yeah.
Like her not having to react to seeing ghosts all the time. And
Yeah.
limiting her perception of like what her psychic abilities are. I mean, I think it's interesting that at that age, and I feel like a lot of writers probably do this, that like they're very like intense about, or filmmakers, they're very intense about the projects that they're doing.
Hmm.
And so they make these like very intense situations that I think that like a lot of female characters have to go through, and it becomes an exercise for like the masculine energies to practice
Hmm.
being around a feminine energy in a certain way. But like if you don't have experience with your own life of holding that energy, how can you write it?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think a lot of it was like us trying to like find a gentler way of being. And I think that that often gets ensnared with like, you know, the psychicness and clairvoyance and tapping into what's unseen. I mean, there's a lot of like unconscious thoughts and wants like happening in that. But I think like becoming aware of that has helped me say like, okay, well that's great, but maybe I can learn how to supply that in my own life, and then look at the character in a different way and actually see what she wants and what she needs.
Yeah. And you've done that, I think, I mean, just by you doing Aurora Airwaves and the conversations we've had surrounding that, I think all of that stems from the work that you've done. Because,
Mm.
yeah, I think before you're right. I mean, the quality of your writing hasn't wavered, but I think it is, you are more focused on character because you know yours.
Oh. Well, that's good. Well, that wraps up our episode. We have all the sound bites we need. No, I think you're right because I think before it was like so much of being concerned about like how is this character going to be perceived, or is this one going to be approved by the world, or is this one going to get me to a festival or whatever. And now it's like, does that really matter?
Yeah, it's like
No.
when you want something so much and you hold it so tight, you're just gonna break it. When you finally
Yeah.
let go, it'll come back to you. So whether this is your what you continue on with your career or not, it still is. I think you're still going to see success in it, and that definition of success for you, I think, is changing.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for a while it doesn't matter what's being created as long as the relationships that you have with people are, there's good teams, there's good connection, everyone's respectful. And I think that that was a period that was healthy in some ways, but it is about what's being created as well, because like you are trying to see something about yourself and what you're making.
Hmm.
Did you find with some of the projects that you were working on the past couple of years that you found certain blocks in certain ways, or you let certain projects go, or I mean, you've had your whole business, and then that's changed as well. I mean, you could talk about that in terms of. I mean, there was a quote that you said maybe a year ago that when I was pretty confused about stuff, and you were like, it was something about like, I'm going to prioritize this thing right now. It doesn't mean letting things go, but it means like I'm going to allow myself to prioritize this aspect of my life in this way.
God, I'm good.
It's a good line because it doesn't say I don't like it gave me permission in ways to not give up on things, but also like have a line to say to people when I wasn't wrapping up the things that I was doing because there
Yeah.
were just so many big projects, and then at a certain point nothing was really getting finished.
Yeah.
So it's a great line to say like I'm prioritizing something else, as
Yeah.
long as it's honest.
Yeah.
Were
And
there
it's,
points when you had to do that?
yeah, I mean, when you talk about my life out here, I moved out here and realized I didn't want to be a screenwriter. And so I put that away because I saw the reality of how difficult it really is. You can't learn that in a classroom.
What were you
Um,
seeing?
I mean, it was you're right in the thick of it and you're hearing all of this noise, which is just every person in film, you're hearing all of their stories all at once, and it's just so loud. And you hear some people who are like, "Oh
Mm.
yeah, I was out here in a year and got an agent," or "I was out here for 10 years and I decided to give up." And it's just like, "Oh my God." And it's like well, that's part of like my where my priorities changed. I was like, my priorities are no longer working this hard because I've got some serious mental health issues that I have to address. And what factors into the decline of my mental health is not having financial stability. So I got a job in social media.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into it, but then uh, I got another job, and there I met my business partner, and we formed a business.
Oh
And I think
right.
it was 4.5 years that we had a social media agency, and it was fun. I loved it. It was a great ride. It came with so many challenges. Oh my God, it
You had like a
tested
whole
me.
team too. I mean, it wasn't just like a little
Yeah,
quiet boutique. It was like a big thing.
we had we had employees, we had health insurance, and it was a struggle.
Yeah.
Um, COVID happened. We shut down during COVID, and now I'm working my second like corporate job now. I start in a couple weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations again.
thank you.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's just I and I was just funny that you say that because I was just thinking about this yesterday. Um, my priorities became financial stability. And then as I got into social media, I continued to write, as people approached me with project ideas and, we're still writing and I still love writing, but it's just not what I want to be my income, how I want to make income anymore.
Right.
So, yeah, that changed and my mental health went like that with it. But, it's ultimately now that I got this job, it's like way up here.
Well, I wonder what the inner dialogue was, because that wasn't a overnight decision. And I think even just saying that, like, having financial security, there is still like an emotional weight to the stories that you want to tell, or the things that you want to do creatively. How do you
Yeah.
sit with that? How do you navigate that? Or how did you? And what didn't work? You
As
know,
far as the plan I approached.
making peace with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, that was, did I just talk about this with you? Well, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. But, I went to school for 6 years for screenwriting and ended up not doing it. It
Mm.
feels awful. It feels like a waste of money. And I'm going to just be transparent. It wasn't my money. My parents funded my college. So grateful
Okay.
for that.
Good.
But still, it felt like a waste of money, a lot of money. But I'm still using, I found that in social media, which I don't know if you've experienced the same thing because you're kind of doing that too, is people love that I have a background in screenwriting. They love it. They're like, oh, so you are great with grammar, you can do copywriting, and you can tell a story, which is huge in social
Yeah.
media. And I didn't realize that. Honestly, I didn't realize it until our business shut down.
Okay.
So that was, I think that was when I started becoming at peace with the fact that, okay, this is not what I thought was my life. That's not my life anymore.
So it took a few years.
Yeah, 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's good to hear in a sense, because that it takes time to see yourself in a new light and be doing different
Yeah.
things as your main priority. Like, I know, like, I often, like, will push myself to be like, you need to be here, you need to be doing this thing. It's like, you can build up to that
Yeah.
and do things to, like, provide evidence of yourself that maybe you're this person, or, find ways to support that idea.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's great that you're able to find balance in a certain way and then do it for fun. Because social media requires so much creativity on, like, every second you're doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool though because when I had my business, we had a client that was a screenwriting platform. They're called Writer Spotlight. And
Hmm.
so they have like a screenwriting community platform. And so they liked that I was a screenwriter and they're still my client after, was it 2 years? For the last 2 years or something like that. They've still been my client this whole time. So it is really cool to have a client who's in screenwriting. So I'm combining the social media and the screenwriting, and I'm still learning because I'm doing their graphics and I'm watching their reels and everything like that.
That's
So
cool.
it's cool because I'm staying up to date on everything that's going on in the industry, and I'm learning through quotes and pieces of advice they're sharing for topics that I'm turning into graphics. So I still feel connected, and aside from us writing and everything.
I wonder, like, what, pieces of writing advice or life advice or, like, whatever they're sharing that you're most drawn to.
So
You just still want to be absorbing the content, what speaks most to you.
they share their own advice and then they share advice from professional writers and
Okay.
professionals in the industry. But they do have some great advice actually. They did a piece on like when you're signing a writing contract or something like that, and then there was a quote that I just did that I just wrote into the graphic, and kind of going back to maybe how your writing style was initially
Hmm.
before, learning more about yourself. And it was something like when you blow up a planet in the first film, in the second, you then have to blow up two planets. And then in the third, you then have to blow up three planets. So it was like
Mm.
that concept. I can't remember for the life of me who that was, but it kind of felt like when we were writing Manifest that first time, it was like, this has to be big.
Bigger
And then
and
it's
bigger.
like, but then the next thing has to be bigger, or the next scene has to be bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we've really just like narrowed that down to just focusing on character and letting the character build like all the world and everything. And the character tells us what we have to blow up.
Ooh, that's a good line. That's a really good line. The character tells us we have to blow up. Yeah, I remember that of like more when it was episodic for the web series, but we had all the different investigations that they were doing, and each one had to top the next,
Yeah, it did.
while staying in the conventions of the world, but also not being what it was. It was very much like Buffy or like the X-Files or something like that at the beginning.
Because you have to keep saying yes and kind of to everything. Like the next thing always has to push, this scene always has to push the next. So it's like, well, if we start out big,
Well, that's the thing, being comfortable with just like trusting the audience and having
yeah,
like a wee little bit and a
yeah,
little bit more and a little bit more.
yeah,
I mean, but like, there were years in there when we weren't working on it that, speaking of like wasted time, like
hmm,
that's what it felt like. It was like, oh my gosh, was this worth it? Like, I remember sending it to a producer in New York and him like having a meeting and like getting really excited about it. And then he sent me an email that was like, you're on your way, but it's not quite there. And it's a little, this, that, and the other. And it was like, don't give up because you're close. And I remember reading it and when I was serving at a country club and I was just like, and I just remember like shutting down, being like, okay, we're back to ground zero again, I guess. Which, was more of a traumatic response to it, more of a trauma
yeah.
response.
Because it
But
wasn't zero.
no, it wasn't. But it felt, it was like, how am I going to fund this? And the script isn't even good. I thought we were ready to go and get all
Yeah,
this stuff done. But I think like that's the whole thing about like now, and that the perspective has changed of like, um, I don't feel like it was wasted time at all. And I feel like if I could go back and like tell me something like right at graduation from college, it would be, don't feel like you have to produce a large work until you're in your like early to mid 30s.
hmm,
Don't even like, you can try, but like don't even have that expectation at all.
yeah,
Like writing the shorts was like so much more helpful, and writing short,
yeah,
fiction works and audio dramas, like that has been so much more beneficial. But it's cool having a lot of heavy lifting, been done, so that when you revisit a script, it's a little easier. So maybe I
yeah.
wouldn't say that to my younger self. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think, well,
It wasn't wasted time.
no, it wasn't wasted time at all because we're coming back to it and what we're I mean, again, I think it's so simple. Here's another little quote for you that I was
Oh, another quote.
driving at night. Night drives will do this to you. And I was just
Mm,
so sad about something in my life. And I was just like, it's not easy, but it is simple. And I don't think that should be applied to everything. We're taking this out of context, but like, I don't know. It's just the things that
that'd be a great
are
podcast. Out of context. Like, I don't really know what this is about, but it's interesting.
full of it. But yeah, I'm like, we always know what we have to do, and it's not easy. It's never
Hmm.
easy, but it is simple. But we choose to steer away from the difficult stuff, so we make it harder and we make it more complicated and everything, and it doesn't have to be. So it can be difficult and simple. So that's kind of what I was
We can be.
it can be. So that's kind of what I was thinking, and it was like, yeah, that applies to a lot in my life right now. And now that we're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that does apply to manifest because it is so simple in the fact that we had to maybe just look at ourselves a little bit more, or look at the people in our lives, or
Yeah.
look at this, take a step back from the script and be like, oh, there's no personality to these characters, not really, but it's difficult because we were looking at the spectacle. We were like, we have to have this really great script and it's got to keep moving.
Yeah. I think in a lot of ways it was like telling someone's story. Like there's how do I say this? There's like when you're trying to tell somebody else's story, there's when you're trying to tell a story, and then there's when you're trying to tell your story. And I
Hmm.
think that when you're trying to tell somebody else's story, it's not really going to work. When you're telling a story that is coming from you, but you're really not tapping in the ways that you could, then it's like, okay, this works, but why do you need to do it in the first place?
Yeah.
Like, why are you here? And week 6 had those moments,
Hmm.
particularly like the last scene when the reconciliation happens, and it's just, whew, I could pitch the hell out of that scene, and I did, and it was great because it was a good, strong emotional anchor, and everyone in the crew was like, "Oh, okay, this is where it's all going."
Hmm.
So that level of embodying was a lot of fun, and I think we're getting to that point now. I was going to ask you a question. Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's probably a good one too. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, well that thought is gone.
Okay, come back
Um,
to that.
but yeah, well we've covered a lot here. I think. Oh, I remember what I was going to tell you. I think. I think it was sort of along the lines of like starting at that ground zero and allowing yourself like the humility and being okay with it of like saying like I'm at this place in my life where I thought I had everything that I needed, and then having reality kind of shatter and be like, oh, maybe I don't know everything. And like, for everyone listening, like that's been a lot of the calls. Like I've called you like late at night, like help me with this social media related thing, or I don't get this, or I don't get how I'm supposed to post for this,
Send
platform, or I
me
don't understand the
25
why.
minutes of voice notes.
Voice notes about this, about that, about the other. And I think it's really interesting because from what I'm like creating regularly now that I get paid to do is very different than what I thought 10 years ago I would be doing. And that's not to say that
Yeah.
those dreams are gone, but I think it's really interesting at being at a place where it's like, for me now I'm asking questions faster, and I'm seeing that that's not a vulnerability. I think before it was like, oh, the world, someone's like pushing back just a little bit, even though it's a caring pushback. They're pushing back. Let's shut down and hide.
Yeah.
Do you feel that? I mean, you always seem like you knock on doors pretty fast, and you're able to like see what you need and move toward it
It never
faster than I
was.
do.
Yeah, but it never was like always like that. I mean, I
It was
think if
learned.
anything now, because I'm aware of how vulnerable I enjoy being and how I understand that vulnerability is going to only enhance your relationships, hopefully. And if it doesn't, that's a whole other thing. But
Yeah. Ooh, tell me
because I
about
know
this.
like because I know like how significant it is, I want to shut down more now. But I know I have the knowledge though that that's
Hmm.
not going to work. So I try not to. But yeah, I think it's not easy. But it's better.
Yeah.
Everything is better being more vulnerable, and I think I mean, I just I remember coming to Rochester when we met up just a couple years ago at the coffee shop again,
Mm-hmm.
and you shared so much with me, and I was so surprised, and I was like, "Who is this?"
Yes.
So different, and you were so comfortable being so vulnerable.
Hmm.
You're comfortable with it. I think that was it. I was like watching your hands. You were not fidgety or anything.
Yeah. And I used to be all the time.
Yeah.
Still am.
Yeah. You're a
Well,
writer.
yeah, I got things to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? No, that's a really good reflection, or just I don't know. It's an interesting way to like look at that, because it's when you like again, if you do that inner work, it makes your life better, which then allows you to connect more because you're accepting yourself.
Hmm.
And so in those moments, like I had accepted a lot of myself that had really forced me into my isolation and just cut me off from everything. But I crawled out of it, this, that, and the other. Um, and I think it's cool that like you start creating everything in that way, right? Like I don't know, like I've always said that like if I'm writing a story that's meaningful and like I really own it, I have to be able to go to a bar with someone, sit down with them and tell them the whole story. I
Hmm.
can't just make them watch it and be like, okay, go watch this and you'll get it. I mean, that was the old me, and how well does that work? I mean, I guess it depends on what you're putting up there. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes it works, but most of the time it's no, because it needs like workshopping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like creating conversations that are meaningful and vulnerable, are they really any different than writing something? Because really,
Yeah.
that's just a conversation as well.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to like write words to write words and get paid like a nickel a word, that's different.
Right. If
Which
it's
is
just a job.
people do that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
social media, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Kind of. Did you find with that as you grew and you started to learn more about yourself and your vulnerabilities and your triggers, that working for all different types of clients became easier? And I phrase it like that because I think most people have like the boss that they have to deal with, or the two or three people at work that they have to deal with. But you not only had a team that you had to manage, but you have all these different types of clients that demand that connection and empathy and that link that you were there for them. Was that burdensome at the beginning? Did you find ways to, I guess, regulate yourself and find balance within it all?
Yes. I'll start by saying I didn't have any idea what I was going into when I decided my business partner and own a social media agency, but um, we figured it out one day at a time. I don't think it was with the clients. I think it was behind the scenes. And I think my business partner and I disagreed on how we wanted to handle certain things. So I think it was how we wanted to handle clients, not necessarily dealing with the clients, but like which clients we wanted to take on, which ones we didn't. If there was a difference in opinion between my business partner and myself, um, it was, I would say that that is what took the toll because we both had different ways of handling our own mental health. And when you have that, then not that there's judgment, but there isn't understanding because if your experience isn't someone else's experience, then it's hard to relate in that sense. And we just couldn't relate with each other on a certain level on how we handled mental health. And so when it came to dealing with clients that were affecting our mental health or affecting the business, which was affecting our mental health, it was just everything just felt so scattered.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like
Mm.
whenever there would be an issue, I'd scramble to pick up the pieces. I'd pick up the pieces, okay, and I would be having these puzzle pieces in my hand, so I had them all, but I wasn't putting them together.
Interesting. So you were
If
just
that makes
burnt
sense.
out,
Yeah,
and you're
it
in
was
like this
exhausting.
like panic mode of just keep it together, but you weren't allowing yourself to have this deeper immersive experience. Well, how could you? You were just holding it together,
Yeah, I mean,
and you
I
did.
definitely, I get that. I mean, I was still practicing, things with I was still seeing a therapist and doing a lot of things to help my mental health and just regulate my nervous system. So I was still doing all the things, but when I'm looking back on it, yeah, having a business affected me. I don't know if it was negatively. I loved it. I loved it. I had so much fun. I had some of the best memories.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm so proud of myself that I did that and I made it through. And it was an overall great experience. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. except for I wish I handled certain things
Mm.
differently, or I wish I knew what I knew now. That's not possible.
Well, so if you went back a couple years, like right now, and like you looked at yourself, like what would those like pieces of advice be? Just
Like,
to sort of
settle,
nudge you in a healthier direction.
I gotta be
Not
like,
like get your
settle
life together.
down.
Wasn't?
I'd be like, settle down. Like I was always on, like always had some level of anxiety. It could be such a low vibration level of anxiety, but it was always just waiting
A
there. So,
murmuring.
yeah, just waiting to pop up. Like,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah,
A murmuring. Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So settle down. That's good.
yeah, yeah.
But
It was difficult. So yeah, I just wish that I had more confidence too. That's what I'm working on right now in therapy.
define confidence.
Loving, truly loving yourself and being okay with who you are and the mistakes that you make. And
Oh.
yeah,
Being okay with the mistakes that you made. So in that environment, maybe like you were beating yourself up about mistakes, or mistakes couldn't really be processed in a timely manner.
I mean, in general, still, I'm an overthinker. So
Mm.
my therapist says, my former therapist says, I catastrophize situations.
Oh.
And I do.
Oh.
I've gotten a lot
Okay.
better. I've gotten a lot better.
So
I
how
don't,
do you define catastrophize? Like, what does that look like for you in a
I used to
creative,
like,
professional context, or in your own life, I guess?
I mean,
Whatever you
just
want
in
to share.
every area of my life, like I would just think about when a situation happens or it's going to happen, I think about every little thing that could go wrong and expect something to go wrong. I expect the worst so that when
Mm-hmm.
the best happens, then I'm pleasantly surprised versus being
Hmm.
on cloud nine and then having to fall from that. I thought that was better,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing is better. Just learn to regulate your nervous system.
But do you think it's a way of like well, you're saying regulating the nervous system, like the body is just so used to these vibrations that are just they're not healthy, but it's so we're used to holding on to them that like you
Probably.
throw your imagination throws all these what ifs in the way so that you kind of know you're not gonna be able to hold on to that nice thing.
I'm sure.
Because if you did, like, then what would you do? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if all the problems are taken care of,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
logically
I'm
it
sure.
makes sense, but I don't know how the body reacts to that.
I mean, I'm sure there's something to that because, and the funny thing is, I don't know how, I haven't fully stopped catastrophizing, but it's significantly less.
That's good.
Um, I, I, I mean, for a lot of situations and everything and relationships in my life, then I was walking on eggshells. And I finally feel like I'm in an environment just as a whole where I'm not really doing that as much. And I have no idea how I got there, if I'm being honest.
Huh. Well, like, what's a situation where you would have been walking on eggshells and now you're not? I'm thinking like it's probably even like little things, like if you're at a grocery store and you're asking for something. You know what I mean? Like
I
micro
mean,
changes.
so, I mean, for example, like I have this new website client. So if we're just talking about work, I'm designing her website, and I I raised my prices in 2023, and I wasn't even going, and it's just the end of 2023, and I wasn't going to hold her to those higher prices. I was going to hold her to my 2022 prices because she had already
Mm.
purchased, a branding package from me and everything like that. And oh, she's already done this on her website and she's done that. So I could really just give her 50% off. But in reality, it's like, if I'm not standing up for myself,
Hmm.
and I'm not charging the value of my work, then it feels like I wonder if those clients or just anybody who's on that end is like having a decrease in respect for my work or what I'm doing.
Oh, interesting.
And she had no, I sent her the proposals, not a single comment or question about budget. And it's
Wow.
like, it was such an amazing lesson to learn because
Hmm.
it's like, she was so happy with everything that I had done for her so far. And so I did give her a discount, of course, because she had already certain other facts. She had already purchased so much from me. She already had a website. I was just redesigning it, all this stuff. So there were certain factors that I included into a discount, but I didn't discount a ridiculous rate because I was nervous about what somebody might say.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It's great that you went and did that, and then how simple the response was.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
So now that you've done that, is there just like a shift in the way that you're approaching everything in terms of money and in terms of what you're going to ask for and what your worth is?
Yeah, so I'm seeing a somatic therapist, and for anyone who doesn't know, it's like a body-based therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Your body holds trauma and all that gunk. And um, it's different in the fact that she was able, I asked her, well, what do you think I should be working on? And because it's a different type of therapy and not covered typically by insurance, things like that, she was able to kind of tell me. And she was like, well, I think we should work on your self-esteem.
Oh.
And so I kind of forgot what your question was, but going to somatic therapy has, that's, I think, when everything started to change. And so we've been working on my self-esteem, my self-worth, um, in a somatic way versus just talking about it. And we do talk about it, but
Yeah.
working on it through working through my body, it's so different. And it's such a slow form of therapy,
Mm.
but
Okay.
it's working. And I mean, I think I'll credit myself too, because I'm doing the work outside of therapy, but having this therapist has made all the difference.
So it's seeing where particular energies are stored in your body and where they're blocked in your body. Well, I don't know, is stored the right word? It's
Yeah, you're holding
yeah,
on to these memories. And I'm not an expert in this, but like, I think a lot of it is unconscious. We don't know we're holding on to this stuff. Like
sure.
check your body right now. Like, where are you tense right now? Like, and why? It's like,
I'm always tensing my jaw.
like
Yeah, I'm always like clenching and grinding, and
yeah.
a lot of
I'm like,
that's
why
from
am I clenching my legs right now? Like, I don't know. But it's
oh
these
some root
body
chakra stuff.
reactions.
Well,
Yeah.
so what did you learn about? Like, I just think it's so interesting that you brought this to self-esteem. Like I feel like so much of your journey has been understanding your voice and understanding how you're gonna, how you want to present yourself and what you want to talk about and being vocal about it. I feel like once you've internalized something, you don't want to stop talking about it. Like you want the world to know these lessons because they're important to you,
Yeah, they
and
are.
that's awesome. Where does self-esteem like manifest for you? Manifest.
Are you talking about like in my, like somatically, like in my body or
Yeah,
just,
like for people like if they don't know like what that whole somatic experience is like where does self-esteem like when it's blocked, what gets limited in the body, and then how does that affect what you're
I,
doing?
I'm pretty sure it's where it is in your body is based on your individual experience. But for me, it's, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of all over because, well, for example, I am usually okay, right now I'm sitting back, I'm leaning back in my chair. Normally I'm like up like this and like pushing my body
Like
forward and
me.
everything. Yeah.
Like, tell me more. Come
Even with
closer.
even with 2 cups of coffee in me and not having taken my Adderall today, I'm still fairly relaxed and like lean back and I'm feeling a
Okay.
little more confident in my skin and the things that I'm saying. And I mean, it could be totally bullshit. I don't know, but like that's just my experience. And so I'm confident in my own experience now. So I'm
Mm.
noticing I'm open, like my body is physically opening up more because
I
of
like
it.
that you're confident with your experience, not what you've experienced. And you could also be confident with that, but the way I think I'm just drawn to like in the moment you're learning how to be cool with what you're doing.
Yeah. But yeah.
Let the audience know. Malena is trying to act cool in the moment.
I get my kicks out of annoying Jordan all the time.
That's your favorite pastime.
It really is. I have so many videos of you with the Snapchat filter on. It's
I was gonna. It
hilarious.
looks like a lot of blackmail. Like,
A lot of blackmail.
ooh, maybe that's promotional material for this episode.
There you go. I'll take those up.
Like, we'll promise all like that's the tone of this interview, this conversation. And it's like, where was that?
Not at all.
Yeah. Well, that's cool though. That's cool, and it's I think it's becoming like, the confidence that you have for what you're doing is, I don't know, I guess it's apparent in like what we're talking about lately, like in how you've been coaching me with, with my job and like how to get better at that, or when we are writing Manifest again. I just feel like this, the desperation that we both had back in the day just isn't there as much. It's more of like learning how to trust that process and learning how to be comfortable with the fact that like you might never have the thing that you dreamt you had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a bad thing. Like, it's going to lead you in other places.
Yeah. I saw this really
As he
awesome.
looks off to the blizzard that's forming. I hope this isn't like ruining the audio. The wind is nuts.
It's a crisp sunny day here in LA. But I saw this TikTok a couple days ago,
Terrible.
and there's this girl who, I'm going to butcher all of this. I saved it. Maybe you can clip it in here somewhere. But
So tell the story wrong.
girl was like saying how did she decide to have kids? And
Okay.
this is like decision making. I mean, this can be applied to anything. But she decided because she saw something or heard something where someone was like, someone who had kids, gone to the end of their life, and they were like talking from experience and saying, I don't look at this life and say that I have now and say, oh, well, what if I went down this road? Well, I would have had this, or I would have had more time for this. She's like, I don't look at it like that. And had I gone down that road, I know that I would have. This is just you're experiencing the same feelings that you would whether you have a child or don't have a child. You're just getting it from different things. So you're feeling the same feelings. You're having the same experiences. You're just not following the path that you thought you would have been.
But
And
don't you
I
think certain experiences, like, I guess in that way, like biologically, like they bring out some reaction or they give you some experience that you
Yeah.
wouldn't? But I guess everything in that light, everything does that. Every
Yeah,
interaction's
and
biological.
I did tell you I was going to butcher it. So I may have butchered it a
I
little
already
bit.
forgot.
But she's
I
like,
got excited by the idea.
I'll send you the video. I think I saved
Okay.
it. But she was like, I experience no less joy by just
That's
taking
awesome.
a path and going with it.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, you have to learn how to not have regrets and how to be comfortable with the decisions that you make. But once you do that, you experience no less joy than whatever path you would have gone on. And if you think about like the multiverse, I mean, gosh, we could have gone on millions and millions of paths.
Yeah. The multiverse thing gave me peace of mind a few months ago. I think we talked about that, where I was like, I mean, I can worry about everything, but I don't have to, because if the multiverse exists, every version of everything I could have experienced has and is being experienced. And I'm the only one who gets to have this experience. So that's
You
pretty
might-
cool.
You might be interested in reading this book, Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
Ooh, book review time. What
It's,
is Dark
I,
Matter by Blake Crouch? Is that what you said?
yeah,
By
he's not a
Barty
friend of mine. I
Crouch.
have no idea who he is.
Barty
So this is not
Crouch
a plug.
Jr. Did he write this in Azkaban? Dark matter. It's a story of Dementors and how to screw with them.
This is like a prequel, actually.
How to
Um,
drink polyjuice potion with nobody knowing.
he it's essentially kind of it's comes from more of a science background, sci-fi
Oh,
background,
we
but
don't talk about science on this podcast. Just kidding.
it's he I won't tell the whole thing, but he figures out that there are different versions of him. He could have this version that we're reading about him.
Hmm.
He chose to have a family, whereas he could have gone down a road and he could have been an award-winning scientist and made huge leaps and bounds in the scientific community and in the world. And he chose not to do that. And he's goes to a bar. He's seeing a former colleague of his who has essentially done what he thinks he could have done or would have done and had he taken that road. And
Yeah.
he does get to eventually experience different lives in his version of the multiverse. And ultimately, well, you'll have to read the book to figure it out. But like, ultimately, he does. This isn't giving anything away, but he does have gratitude for the life that he's living, and he realizes, oh, I really should appreciate this because I'm seeing these other versions of myself who are so lonely in these other worlds, and I'm not
Oh.
lonely in this one. So I guess that's kind of what I mean. It's like you you will have joy no matter what.
Like it can be experienced, but it's the way that you approach the situations.
Yeah.
So this book is kind of like a mix of A Christmas Carol and The Midnight Library.
Love the Midnight Library. Oh my gosh, it's over there on my bookshelf right now.
I kind of
But
want like a bookshelf to wait. Can you like bring like your top 5 books over or something? I don't
I
know.
just started reading, but I'm reading another one. I just started reading another one by Blake Crouch. I forget what it's called even. That's how I'm just like five
Blake.
pages into it.
Wow, getting a lot of shout outs. This is great. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, yeah, kind of like Midnight Library. That's why I was drawn to this book because I read Midnight Library and I was like, kind of want something like it. And then I found this one. I was like, mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
You ever think about writing prose, writing books, writing in that way? Or is that not your
It's not my
jam?
thing. I tried in college when Lee Wilson, I took her course.
Oh, Lee. Got to get
Great.
her on the podcast.
I took one of her courses and it just wasn't. I, it's no, it's just not my thing. I think I would just include way too many details and I would have to, I'm sentimental. It would just be a whole thing. Yeah.
Like, oh, I just read a Malena Lloyd short story. It was just really sad. Nothing really happened. Actually,
It was
it's kind of like
300
week
pages.
6. That's kind of week 6. We gotta like wrap this up. Well, no, I mean, but now that I think of it, like the way that you write on social media, particularly like a few years ago, was very much like a journal, and it was very much nonfiction writing. You know, there was a large output. Ooh, we need to like chat GPT that. I know it's not like hooked up to Instagram, but like, what if it could like take all the stuff I wrote on Instagram for the past 8 years and
Combine
write a
it together.
short story about it?
What? Let me experiment with that. But it's
Not that I
funny that you
do that,
mentioned
but
that.
like,
It's funny that you mentioned like my posts from just a few years ago because they were authentic, yeah, but I had no idea who I was. I'm so much more confident in myself now. Like
okay,
I
they were
think those do.
authentic, but you weren't confident. Were you confident sharing what you were seeing or writing about yourself, or was it more of an act of just trying to get some energy moving?
I think I was trying to get some energy moving, but also I was posting it for the wrong reasons, I think.
Oh,
I I think I just wanted to seem like I knew what I was doing and I wanted to feel understood and connect with people, which is not the wrong reasons, but it was very much from a base of I want a certain type of attention, positive attention versus the negative that I've received that I felt like I've received my entire life. So it didn't come from a place too much of a positive place, if that makes any sense.
so it was kind of coming from the victor mindset. It's
A
like
little
I
bit,
need
yeah.
to be on top. I need to show that I'm right and that I'm leading the charge in a way. Were you ever writing, and I'm not saying this because I can think of any examples, but were you ever writing from a place of like trying to get sympathies from people? Because I feel like
That's
that's so much, like that's most of what I read on like Instagram and stuff. It's like, you know, I had this problem or I had this perspective. It's, I mean, that's very like sort of a Tumblr. You know, that's the Tumblr
yeah,
vibe. Everybody like
yeah.
crying about everything.
I
Not
don't
that
think
you
I wrote
shouldn't have
in.
a space to do that, I guess, but if it's not productive or
That's always my thing is like, is it
does it have
productive? Well, like even if you say, but like me just like I feel like if I'm just whining, it's
uh-huh.
that's not productive. Like if I'm not going to do anything about the situation,
Hmm.
why am I like I am all for venting and ranting and getting things off your chest, even if it's stupid and petty and you're
Yeah.
pissed at someone or whatever it is. That's totally fine, unless you're not going to do something about it, which I'm guilty of.
Oh yeah, we all are.
Yeah. But I think I know a little bit better now, and it's like, okay, well, if I am going to, we'll say talk shit, then I should correct then how I'm approaching that situation because if it's coming at it from just a point of anger and I'm not molding that into something productive, what am I doing?
Well, I feel like that can become the vibe on social media, being angry about things, and it's just something from a place of fear, feeling unsafe. So it's like validate me, and then
Yeah.
you're validated, but it's still coming from this fearful place.
But it's also like, is it valid? I don't know. This is a question, I guess. It's like, how validating is it if it's coming from people you don't know? If it's not coming from your direct, in-person, one-on-one community?
Well, I think that speaks to the individual, right? Like
Yeah,
if someone is, if that's all that they want to be around, they can't receive anything that's real. It's just
right.
this perceived from a distance, thumbs
Yeah.
up or whatever, that I think we like are hoping for when we're scrolling, right? Like when
Yeah.
we're attracted to like mindfulness quotes or, outlooks on life or whatever. I think we're kind of like hoping to see something that aligns with how we feel to then validate, oh, I'm on the right path,
Of course. Yeah.
versus something that says, like, you do not have this aspect of your adult life balanced in any way.
Wait, actually, I'm
Those
gonna
are the ones I
counter
want to skip
argue.
through, but it's like, no, like, you got to sit in front of this. Or
I'm gonna
it's
counter argue that because there is an Instagram account and it
not the
actually
whale one,
is
is it?
what?
It's not the whale quotes.
No, but I love a whale fact. I love those
A
ones.
whale fact. That was a good page.
That's a good page. Okay, this one is called Disappointing Affirmations.
Oh, okay.
And it's honestly it's a
I'm
slap,
already like,
but I think I need it
let's go.
sometimes. So this one that they posted today, it's a swipe, but it says things didn't work out for a reason. The reason is you make terrible decisions. But it's like it's
But that's
helpful.
kind of validating. Like,
Do I?
yeah.
I'm able to like actually like I'm like this is like I'm questioning myself. Like I'm checking myself. I'm be like, do I make terrible decisions? No? Okay. I can move on. So I'm not like taking that to heart. I'm not taking it personally. I'm not sitting in it and like catastrophizing it, but I am just like, do I? Wait, do I? I've never asked myself that question.
Read it again.
Things didn't work out for a reason. The reason is you make terrible decisions.
But see, I think that like the phrasing of it could be changed. Like
Yeah,
that's not
I
as like, I don't know, like adult logic me is like, yeah, like yeah, I can do better. I can screw up. I can buck up and. But I feel like my inner child is not like that.
How about this one? Good things will always find you, but you'll be too distracted by bad things to notice.
Well, I hope that's not true, but it probably is.
Also, if it's true, is that not a wake-up call to be like, wow, that actually, I am focused more on the bad things. What if good things are happening and I'm
Hmm.
not noticing because I'm too distracted by the bad things or the perceived bad things?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it is a really funny page, but it is like it's kind of helped me a little bit. I mean,
It
is
is
this not?
always interesting, like when someone like tells you something about yourself that's not favorable,
Yeah, but
and they
now you
find the
don't have to
right
hear
way
it.
that like works for you to hear it.
Yeah, now
So
you
it's
don't
cool
have
you
to
found
hear
a
it
page.
from like a friend or family member and get mad at them. You're hearing it from this like no name like account on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like this one says, the only person you can truly rely on is you. What a fucking nightmare.
What were your dreams like as a child? They were nightmares. Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, I mean, that wakes me up and because I can say from that, wow, yeah, I actually, I'm responsible for myself. I should take better care of myself because at the end of the day, only I am responsible for me. If that makes sense.
Well, or maybe it's not that you should take better care of yourself. I think you see through all the somatic therapy and through your inner work and stuff, it's like you see the experience of what being healthy feels like,
Hmm.
and that feels better. But you can't be like on top of your game all the time for making every healthy decision. And I think that like not I think like I feel like a lot of the decisions we make are always going to be stupid decisions, but it's like how we label it. Is it like something that we you knew better than that? It's like, or this presented itself as an opportunity to learn something that you don't have full awareness of and haven't quite healed yet. So this experience of you not being healthy is a teacher,
Hmm.
and if you're ready, you can act on it and move that forward in some way.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that like with with these decisions or mistakes that you make that maybe you don't know how you feel about them. I mean, it's your that's where I get everything happens for a reason. I don't think everything happens for a reason. I think you have to find that reason or you have to make that
Yeah,
statement true because I don't think that things happen for a reason. I think you give it a reason. And I think that
sure.
that's how I don't think that's the end all be all, but I think that helps you heal and think that helps you like I had a horrible heartbreaking thing that happened in 2023 and I had to be okay with it because I had I saw what was on the other side and it was going to break me to have to make this certain decision, but I knew that there was a chance that I could heal a lot of stuff that I had never even seen in me
Yeah,
until I was 31, 32, and I had the opportunity to work on that. And if I had that opportunity, I had to take it. And I'm still heartbroken. I'm still grieving, but I'm so happy that I get to work on all of these other things that I could never see was detrimental to probably all of my relationships.
well, yeah. I mean, the situation wasn't favorable, but it was raw, and so much got brought up,
Hmm.
and you dealt with what you knew your triggers were going to be immediately. You know,
Yeah,
you removed yourself from certain situations. You got help in certain ways, and you started using the tools that you've been, your arsenal that you've been building up, which was
yeah,
impressive to see. Um, but yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying of like like you find the meaning behind what has, you know, been presented. I mean, that's reasoning, right? That's why we're distinct as an animal species. Like, we can reason,
hmm,
and other species can, but I think the ability to reason stems from like we find meaning through. Wait, what does she say in Eastern Body, Western Mind, the Chakra book? She says like meaning like comes from like the sensations that we have. The senses create sensations, and through there's a micro feelings, and through the sensations you have your true feelings, which then become these bigger emotions. And then through the way that you emote, you find meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find your purpose in life, right? But all those micro things that you've been absorbing through your senses shape everything. But like you've said before, like, we're not really conscious of what all these things are.
Yeah.
So it could be like, years and years and years of like trying to figure something out, and then something, not unfavorable, like, pops up like you had to deal with. And all of a sudden you're just seeing the authentic parts of you.
Mm-hmm.
That, it's like the Band-Aid above the wound that was already there has been ripped off, and you see that it's a big wound that needs a little bit more than a Band-Aid.
It's raw. Like, that's the thing, is I think that everything that happened towards like that kind of the end of 2023, it was just like, I felt like it was just one thing after the next in every area of my life. I've lost, hopefully not forever, but I've lost so many people. And I lost my first job. I went through a breakup and everything. And it just, everything, one after another, was just like ripping wallpaper off a big 12-foot wall. And it's, how tall are walls? Actually, I have no idea. Is that big? I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a house with a 12-foot wall. I mean, these are my height, but it's not my house.
But it's like, it's just like ripping that off, and it's like the wall is coming off with it, spackle is coming off with it, like it's just like that underlying layers coming off with it, and it's just like, oh my God, it's so much more painful than just like ripping off a Band-Aid. But
Yeah.
the best part of it is like, I'm using so many metaphors, but I don't have like this dry, crusty skin on top anymore now. I can see that I have brand new skin underneath, and it just needs some time to develop. It needs some time to toughen up again.
That's interesting. So, but when you're in that metaphor, like, you're ripping so many layers of things that have built up,
Yeah,
spackle
that I had
filling in
no
holes.
idea.
So it's like ripping. Okay.
It's like I'm the 12th owner of this home, and 12 layers of wallpaper have been on top, and I have to rip them all off.
So now you're seeing the foundation a little bit more,
Yeah.
a lot of it more.
And it's like, it feels like I have like this giant sunburn all over. Like, if we're talking about this
You're
somatically,
like, ow.
it's like, oh, don't touch me there. Like, and it's like, someone's like, I'm not touching you. It's like, yeah, don't even do that. Like,
Yeah.
but
We be gentle now.
well, that's actually really great, because I know that you and I have had conversations about the feminine versus masculine, and it's something that I never really understood when you would talk about it. And but now I think I am understanding, because I'm getting softer, I'm getting gentler, and I think it's because I'm more raw, and I am leaning more into my femininity. And I'll have you recommend some books for me too. But I saw this that stupid TikTok trend of the AI where you like, it zooms out.
Oh, it's like with the where it like fills in the Photoshop. Like, what am I trying to say? Like, the AI builds it as you're moving outward.
Yeah, so it kept going.
So like
and I
a
did
crappy
one.
photo of you at Disney World or something, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just like, what?
And I saw there was one that I did of me, and it's now a core memory ingrained in my brain, because like what it zoomed out to physically, what I was wearing, it was this very soft version. And it was this flowy white dress, and I was like sitting in this very feminine way. And honestly, through that, I saw my femininity. I saw myself in a completely
Oh,
different.
wow. Okay. Word.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying TikTok is healthy, but it just happened to be the situation.
Everyone, we need to be on TikTok all the time, altering images of ourselves or letting it alter images.
This is why I'm like, I love and hate my career, because I love my career. I just has some bad parts to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So I saw myself in a different way, and that was
that's
really
cool.
interesting.
I mean, but that's like the benefit, like, of changing up your looks. Like, did I ever think that I would be working in a hair salon full time? like I'm sure when I brought that up for the first time, you were probably like, "What?" And I think I was too. But I have to show my hair off. But like,
Yeah, you do.
I got my braids. You're gonna have to direct me. Am I showing it off right?
Yeah, you're good.
But like, I never growing it out was one step.
Yeah.
And I resisted a lot of like trying out new looks and stuff. But that was incredible because I realized like I remember sitting in bed one night like after I got my braids, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago, and I'm like, why does this feel wrong? Like it feels like a completely different way of living, and it's the simplest forms of self-care. This like learning how to comb my thick curly textured hair. I didn't even know how to comb my hair at 29 years old.
You have a different textured hair for sure, and there are very specific rules. So it's not
Yeah.
surprising.
It's not surprising. I'm not like I guess I'm not saying that it's not surprising, but it's the way of like when you enter a different environment and you can see yourself physically changed in a certain way. Sometimes it allows you like I guess I'm saying that like in tandem with you seeing more of your femininity, it allowed me to see that as well.
Your femininity.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
taking the time to use my masculine side to slow down, to trust other people who were, said, "Oh, I can take care of your hair. Oh, I know how to do this." In the past, I'd be like, "No, get away from me. I'm doing my own thing." Enough people have criticized this over the years, and now it's like, finding that way of calming down and sitting with myself and allowing myself the experience of seeing how I feel about different hairstyles or whatever, and seeing how it feels letting someone else work within my hair, and you know
And that's a vulnerable thing. Having
that is a
somebody
big
take care
vulnerable
of your
thing,
hair.
and that's what the feminine side wants us to be. It wants us to it wants to be vulnerable. It wants to emote. It wants to allow these emotions to swirl around, and you know. So I think it's cool that like going back like to the TikTok thing that it's a way for you to like see yourself in a new way, and then all of a sudden it's like you look back at yourself probably, and then you're like, oh, that maybe I need to integrate this a little bit more,
Well, there is something
right?
yeah, because I've pushed I think what I've done is I pushed my femininity away a lot because the label I use is I'm bi, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to be straight passing. Granted, I have it a
Oh,
little bit easier than some people, but like I do think I am straight passing. And so I, a couple years ago, I mean, specifically in the pandemic, I was like experimenting with my clothing, my hair, and everything, and be like, how can I enter the world again and be less straight passing? How can I look more queer? How can I fit
mm,
more into that community? And I'll tell you right now, it didn't have that much to do with my appearance. I'm in my
uh,
different eras all the time. Right now, I'm in my soft girl era. But give me a couple weeks or a couple months, and these extensions are gonna come out. I'm gonna chop my hair short, go blonde. I don't know. I'm gonna do something, and I'm
cool.
gonna be in my hard queer girl era or something again. I don't know. But I
Well, so what
pushed.
does that mean? Like, does that mean that it's for you to see yourself, for you to just step into your light in that way?
So that's what I was trying to be like, who am I? Like, what what kind of gay am I? You know, like physically, like appearance wise.
Yeah.
And I I think I was trying so hard to fit into the queer community and
Oh,
look queer
look the
in
part.
yeah, more
So you
that.
can find clarity on the way you're identifying. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, well, not so much clarity, but clarity, yes. But more I have a pattern of if I go out, if I'm at a bar or something, or if I'm getting hit on by someone, it's always a male. I can count on
Mm.
one hand with maybe there's two or three times when I have been hit on by a female
Huh.
with with the same intention of
Were
the
you
way.
not always aware of when you were being hit on?
No,
When you
I
were
was aware.
like,
I was aware, but that was the
okay.
thing. That was the problem is I was aware, and it was only men that were
Huh.
attracted to me on some on that level, or not maybe
Sure.
not attracted, but initiated on that level. And I was like, how can I let women know that I am interested in women as well? And
Yeah, what'd you
so I was
find?
like, yeah, I pushed away a lot of that femininities to look more masculine, to look more leaning lesbian.
Oh, I see what
You
you're
know?
saying.
Yeah,
To play the part more, you felt you needed to have the masculine side be taking charge
more
and
prominent. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's not really the case.
Which is interesting because you were pursued by a masculine energy, so you felt that you had to embody that in a way. But even that wasn't what you
Yeah.
wanted to the full
Yeah.
extent, yet you were embodying it. So now you're course correcting in a healthy way.
Yeah, and
Or in your own way. In your own way.
I still haven't figured it out, anything out, but it's like I'm just gonna do, I'm at the point where I'm just gonna continue to express myself in the ways that I feel comfortable doing so in that moment.
Cool.
And I even updated my Instagram bio and I just added, I like to change my hair a lot or something like that. And it's like, this is a huge part of my life. Yeah, I mean, you've been through all my hairstyles with me. I change my hair all the
Oh yeah, you had
time.
like purple hair like a year ago.
I had purple hair, I had pink hair, I've had blonde hair, I've had long hair, I've
Yeah.
had short hair, bangs, no bangs, everything. Like I've done
That's
a
great.
lot of it. And so that's a huge way that I express myself. And so, but if we're bringing this back to like the authenticity, is I'm just going to do whatever I feel like doing, and my energy will give out how I identify. So, like, I was at a singles
Right.
party a couple weeks ago, and I had more women hit on me than men.
Oh, interesting.
And I was
Do
like,
you feel that you're more accepting? Because there was a yeah, I feel like there was a period when you were trying to like learn what this whole scene was like and how to navigate it. Do you feel you're just more confident now?
I think I'm more confident. I also stopped worrying.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
like what we were talking about. Like I stopped holding this thing so tight and I just let it go.
Yeah. Well,
And it
great.
helps. Yeah. I'm cured. Great episode.
Excellent. Aurora Airwaves just,
I'll I'll tell my
everything just
therapist I'm
clicks.
done.
Your therapist will listen to it and be like, "We have a lot to talk about."
She's gonna be like, nothing that you said on there was true or accurate. We need
Yeah,
a
we'll have to do a
session.
follow-up episode when we like watch this episode.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I think that I'm glad we touched upon that topic and a lot of these other topics because it definitely falls in line with like what the Aurora Airwaves, excuse me, what the Aurora Airwaves journey is.
Mhm.
Excuse me, and I think that it's acknowledging when you're in those dark periods of your life, and I think like seeing that there is a lot of light in you, but learning what those colors are.
I like the way you put that. Yeah.
Yeah, learning what that is and being comfortable with the fact that like you won't ever know what it's really going to be. You know, you're going to see aspects of it. You're going to learn a lot more and a lot more and a lot more. Um, I don't know. Maybe you will. I don't know. Maybe we will. But I think that that's part of the joy that there's always more to uncover. There's more aurora energy to get out, but it can be experienced. Like you're saying with the woman, like experiencing joy. Like it can be experienced that perspective. But I feel like it's for everybody. It's not. But that's why we need to have these conversations and why we
Hmm.
need to keep being open and transparent about where we are in the journey and when we're confused about things and when we're building ourselves up in a way that we like seeing.
Hmm. And talking about, I mean, this is why I have a therapist, and this is why I'm happy that we're able to have these conversations because it's talking about these things, and I'll give you a live example, is you can spew out all the bullshit, but at the end of it, you'll
Mm-hmm.
get to what you're searching for, and which is very funny because I had no idea why I wanted to get these extensions in, and I
Oh,
just did it. I was like, oh, I'm just feeling it. And literally just now, I realized why I decided to get these. And it was because I'm
freaking
coming back to this version of myself that I previously had loved the most. There was this night that some
wow.
friends and I, we went out to a bar And that,
Recently.
no, like
Oh.
2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And I had long hair and I had curtain bangs and um my hair looked super cute. And I just remember with my roommate before that, I was picking out my outfit and I was like, I am not comfortable in this. I'm gonna switch to the first one. Of course, we always go back to the first one, the first outfit. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to the first outfit and oh, I'll wear these shoes. And I had not felt that confident in my appearance
Huh.
in a long time. And I
Cool.
walked in with confidence. And at the time, like, I had a little crush, just a very small crush on one of my friends there.
That helps.
And as I was
Or
chatting with
doesn't.
him, what?
Oh, I mean, like sometimes that helps. Sometimes that does not make one more confident.
But it didn't really rattle me though. And I saw him there and it
Cool.
didn't rattle me at all. And I was just like
Huh.
so
You were just like
appreciative. Yeah, I
zen.
was just filled with like so much like gratitude and so much love for these people, even though like it was not the best night for some people who were there. It's a night that I will never forget because for those few hours, I was so much myself and
Cool.
I couldn't believe it. And I came home and I just like cried happy tears and I was like, I cannot believe this. And
Yeah.
um, I think I'm getting back into that because that was the last time I had this hairstyle.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, if you're realizing that, that was like the underlying like tone of this whole conversation, right?
Hmm.
Self-esteem, confidence, building up your autonomy in ways that are healthy in your own rhythm.
Hmm.
And your rhythm is like, I guess for now it's like that long hair, like that communicates something. Maybe it communicates that's because that your hair used to be longer when you were younger. In
Yeah, it's
college and
true.
stuff. Maybe it's communicating something of like you're returning home to a more
Maybe.
authentic. I don't know. It's like you're returning to yourself
This is
in a
also
certain
where
way.
this is what I relate to femininity is my long hair on me.
Okay.
So whenever I'm feeling more soft, I usually go for the long hair. And when I'm feeling more masculine and whatever,
You rip those extensions out.
good luck ripping
Or
these babies out.
carefully, because they pricey.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how these are new. I don't know how I would get these. I mean, I have to go to the salon to get them
You'd
out,
have
but
to.
they're K-tips. Are you familiar with K-tips from your salon work?
That is beyond me. I just know that extensions exist.
You're you're doing great.
Bare basics. Oh, what did I say? I said something about. Oh, it was you that we talked about with the purple shampoo for
Oh
blonde
yeah,
hair. I was like, holy shit, this is insane. This is insane.
the whole world that you're learning. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you had a moment of um, experiencing your own Aurora energy.
Look at that.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
What do you think about the metaphor? Does it make sense to you? You listen to the pilot. I'm not bringing this up to like toot my own horn, but I'm just like curious what that means to you. And I think that that's something I should probably ask everybody. Like the visualization of the auroras, and I mean, seeing your inner light is a very common theme. But how do you identify with that?
Um,
You don't have to at the same time.
I don't know that I have any connection with like the auroras, but light, funnily enough, has played a huge factor in my life. I mean, if we're just talking about mental health, I've got depression, so it's like light is helpful for that. But I've also got an autoimmune condition where the treatment is light therapy. And now this new job that I'm working for is a
Oh,
circadian rhythm light company. So it's just following me
okay.
everywhere. So
Well, and
I
you had
have no like
socialite and manifest, which dealt
socialite
with
was my
lights.
yeah, yeah. Light is following me. And so it's
Okay, or maybe
light
you're drawing it to you.
or I'm drawing it to me. That's what I'm doing. Either
Yeah.
that or I have a shadow that is connected to me and
Yeah,
it
there's
is
like this
just
thing in the back
messy.
corner of your room. You know that's been watching you this whole time, right?
It's the thing that's been standing there for 2 hours.
Like hunched over in the corner of the room.
I should- Just thinking.
Just waiting.
There are no witnesses. Speaking of, your profile picture is still that thing that you sent me, or your profile picture, your contact picture.
Oh, the still from
I'll
Daredevil.
hide your phone number. But this,
Excellent. Oh, yours is a ghosty too.
I don't know how it became. I don't even know what this is from. But you would send this to.
It's
It
from
was
Daredevil.
okay. You would
Yeah, because
randomly
they didn't want to
send this to
reveal
me
their
just
identities.
to freak me out.
I thought you were just joking. I thought you were just being dramatic. And then like a year later, it was like, oh no, she's actually serious. So yours has a ghosty too. There's no way it's gonna.
That's me.
No, no, no. The ghosty's next to it, but you can't see it because the
Oh, I
camera
can't see
won't.
it. Turn your brightness down. Wow, you really need to update that profile or that contact picture of mine.
There you can see it a little bit.
Okay. Oh, yours has a ghost next to it too.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yours does.
Yeah,
Oh.
I said my ears also. I think.
Yeah,
All right,
please change my
Patreon fans, go through and find out if I said that. How do I get it to update? Doesn't sometimes like it says automatically like they've updated, but yours never did.
I don't do that. Just screenshot a picture of me from my Instagram and just go to my contact and you just change it.
Oh, manual labor. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, will do. Well, I hope you continue to have New York State emergency. Oh yeah, New York emergency management. Heavy lake effect snow and whiteout conditions begin tonight. See, I wasn't lying.
Say you were lying.
I I actually filmed a reel about me like being in the snow and climbing in my car, going to film a podcast episode.
Good.
And then I'm like, wow, this is dramatic, but we have to post.
No, see, people in California who have never experienced snow will be like, is everyone okay?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah.
It's just
Normal.
annoying. Yeah. Snow.
I can't really see it that well. You text it to me.
Yeah, it's not that interesting actually. The waves in Lake Erie were kind of like kicking up pretty high. That was like,
Yeah.
I want to be inside now. Well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you for being my guinea pig. Actually,
Yeah.
you're not my guinea pig. Sorry. I did record a few episodes last year, but they were like trial by fire, and they're all terrible. And I'll
All right.
probably still upload them. But
Yeah.
um,
Your 2024 guinea pig.
2024 guinea pig. Thank you for sharing. Any final thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, queries?
Yeah,
Any
I
final
definitely-
notes to the listeners? Should they follow you on anything? Should they? What do you
me on
want from them? What do you
Instagram.
want from my two listeners?
Well,
You're one of them, and I'm the other.
Follow me on Instagram and TikTok.
What are your
Oh,
TikTok handles?
you'd think I would know to do that. That's so Lily.
Oh, that's so Lily.
It's a rip off of That's So
Is the
Raven.
future
And
rocket?
should I change my username? That'll be another discussion for another time. Sorry, the ADHD is kicking in now real bad.
What should you change your TikTok? What's your
No,
TikTok?
both of them, my usernames.
I don't know.
Just
I like That's So Lily. I like Malena Lloyd a little more, but that's because I named it.
Traumatized from how many emails I still get.
You couldn't like log in anything for probably a year.
No, I could not log into anything. Oh my God, it was so bad. I was like, what do you mean? My name is Malena Lloyd.
Right? Lolima. Melina from Lima.
But no,
Um,
no other queries, but I'm sure we'll have more conversations about this offline because this is what we
yeah.
do.
Well, I think it'll be cool, like, when we listen to this and look back at it and see where we want to go. I mean, the whole Aurora Airwaves journey for me was like, it was going to be like set in stone of what it had to be. But I think, like, well, I know, like, a lot of this is like, you just gotta, like, fucking go for it. You just gotta, like, record a conversation, talk about this, talk about that, make an audio drama, write a story, just do whatever and put it out there. So
And
I
do
wonder, like, what we're gonna do. Like, I don't know what this next conversation is gonna be. Like, but I think that's
yeah,
awesome that, now we can find a topic to talk about.
yeah, we never run out of topics to talk about, but specifically with you, it could always be an 8 hour conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been.
And it has been.
There's no short of hours in the day for Jordan.
What did my uncle say when he was introducing me to one of his friends at my cousin's wedding? He said, "This is Jordan Bianchi. He's a Bianchi. They're great if you have 6 hours you need to kill." I was like,
Yeah. If
yeah.
I introduced someone to you, I would probably be like, this is Jordan. If he doesn't stop talking, you can just walk away and he won't be all that offended.
I probably would be. Is this something good to And that's why I haven't met too many of your friends.
You've met actually quite a bit of my friends.
I actually have.
Like, for only
Well, some of the New York ones.
the New York ones, but like you've
Yeah.
actually kind of like somehow gotten to know some of my LA friends without ever having been here. Are you going to come visit?
That's true. I should come and visit.
Yeah, you should come and visit. This is your couch. This is your bed right here.
My couch. Well, we know that the cat allergy medicine works now. So
Great.
there's also cat food that you can buy that my cousin and his wife, I guess she's my cousin now too, that they feed their cats. And it's like, brings down like allergens that they like produce in their skin or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm going to make you buy that for
I'll buy
like a
that.
year before I visit. Like, oh, dude. Cool. Yeah, we'll record an episode in LA. That'd be fun. I
Yeah,
wish there were
that'd be
like
cool.
palm trees in the background, but like they'll have to take our word for it.
I mean, there's palm trees, I think, outside my house right here. Not in my yard, but like they're everywhere. It's not that
I
hard to
was like,
find.
mini field trip for the end of the episode, but maybe we'll just end it here.
We could go to the beach and film
Ooh.
a podcast episode at the beach. Should we have our own podcast?
We could like interview people. Maybe you need to, I don't know. What would it be about?
I don't know.
Out of context.
Out of
Out of
context.
Welcome to another episod of
I'm,
Out of
I'm gonna go.
Context.
I'm gonna go copyright that right now. I swear to God.
Yeah, go grab the Instagram. Oh god, there's nothing like a pair of creatives or a set of creatives that don't finish the projects but think of 500 more. We're good
Yeah.
at that.
Also, okay, so I think the epitome of the phrase of friends who are like, should we have a podcast? Is the Basement Yard podcast.
Wait, have I heard of them? The Basement Yard?
It's just these two guys from like New Jersey or New York or something,
Uh-huh.
and they just talk. And they're so
About,
funny.
about nothing.
Yeah,
Everything
they're
and nothing.
They are so funny. And I'm like, those are two friends who were like, do we have a podcast? And actually followed through with it. And it's amazing. But yeah, we'll
All you
put
gotta
that
do
out.
is get enough episodes in.
And be funny.
Well, maybe for the time being you'll be a regular contributor.
Let's see if okay, we have the
You
mental
can tell us
health
about the
episode.
LA trends of health and storytelling and
Ugh. God. The LA trends. It's a
yeah,
lot.
on the next episode.
Let's do a comedy episode next time. We'll see how that one goes, and then we'll see if that'll be like the barometer if we should have
Maybe we'll revive Mike from Tinder a little bit.
Oh, you're pulling an old script out of the vault.
Mm-hmm. We can read a scene or two from it. I don't know.
It was New Girl-esque, but it wasn't there at all. It was not
It
quite
was
there.
almost there. It was getting
And
there.
then I reworked it and it just wasn't good. The reworking wasn't good. And then
There
I
were
stopped
cool
writing.
scenes. There was a time when we were like ready to like want to film it.
Yeah, I had table reads and everything,
Oh, really?
and it didn't. None of the jokes landed.
Oh, that's why I don't know much about this. No.
But then I read through the script again in my head, and I was just like, "No, I'm really funny." I was like, "Wait, maybe I'm not."
Did did they just not read it? I could feel like the wrong people reading a New Girl script would be like, "There's nothing funny about driving
It was people
gloves."
who watched New Girl and knew New Girl, and so I
Oh.
think it was the writing. Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe
Maybe you
we'll
held the
revise.
vision, but you would need to like hire other writers to like do it in a way that like felt organic or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I would
You
be
take a
if I
step away.
went back into film, I would be the showrunner. We'll revive
That'd
it.
be good.
I'll hand it to you, and
That'll
if
be
you want,
next.
we can work on that together. It's a comedy, so maybe after Manifest, that'll be a nice little break from the darkness.
Aurora Airwaves is always a good break from the darkness. And on that note, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jordan. This is fun.
Thanks to all our listeners. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I clicked